Grimcast Manila is a podcast of creepy stories from around the metro. I'm your scaredy cat host, Antoinette, and I love a good ghost story. In this episode, we're talking to Maui, filmmaker and video editor by trade, Team Lenny Teamster, and managing partner of Playground Inc. Welcome to the show, Maui.
Hi! Thank you for having me. I'm very glad to be here.
Charge!
Yay!
Yay! Crowd cheers.
Why am I here?
So, funny story, Maui and I really just met during the pandemic and have only met once in person, but have seen each other every week since. Since we met, because he is also part of the other show, other podcast we have on Big Baby called Dead Air. And Maui is our all-around producer, helper / keeping us sane person on Dead Air. So, yay! I'm glad you've come on and spending a little bit of time with me to hopefully creep me out this evening.
Oh yeah, very glad to be here and excited to do that. Let's see. I hope that my story does creep you out, or should I not hope that it creeps you out? Because that causes problems.
We'll see. We'll see how this works out. I mean, you'll be hearing from me if it goes south.
Not to jump ahead of the conversation, but you know, my history with them has caused other people inconvenience. So you know, maybe we should do the cleansing. You know, the cleansing ritual after, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So
Richie.
for the audience members who don't know what we're talking about, you know, it's a cleansing ritual to make sure that we do not retain any negative energies from the beyond.
Or, you know, we end the conversation with unicorns and rainbows. I mean,
oh yeah, sure.
We can do that too. Anyway,
that too. I have a daughter, so unicorns and rainbows are a common topic.
I thought you were gonna say something like, "I've seen a unicorn before." I'm like, "Whoa."
Well.
Oh wow. Okay. Anyway.
No. Anyway.
So, I mean, jumping right into it, what started your interest in stuff like this? Have you always been sort of interested in like stuff that's like spooky? I know you're in a horror podcast with us, but has this been like an ever since type thing?
Well, I've always been a quote unquote strange kid. Like I remember always being fascinated with horror. Like later on in my life, there's a big hole in my life from mid-20s up until last year or 2 years ago where I avoided horror at all costs. I don't know why. My tolerances went down. But prior to that, I would watch anything horror alone or with my parents. It didn't matter.
Wow, brave.
I would be terrified for days afterwards, like hiding under covers, not being able to sleep. But when the movie's there, I'd watch it. I'd watch, of course, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'd watch the latest offering on ABS-CBN every 11 p.m. You know, they always show a movie like late Friday night, something.
Mga shake, rattle, and roll.
No, or foreign. Or, local or foreign. I'd watch that. Every Halloween, I'd watch Magandang Gabi Bayan.
Of course.
Even though it freaked me the hell out, you know.
It like, super freaks me out.
I mean, I've always liked the thrill. Like, I remember being so fascinated by the feeling. And I think that's because, we will, I guess you have to help me parse this line of thinking better. But when I was a kid, I had, like, the line between reality and fantasy was very good. Like, I had lucid dreams almost every night. And I would wake up, I would actually wake up, and I still remember those nights. They were so vivid. I would actually wake up in the middle of the night with the dream still going on in my head, superimposed onto reality.
Whoa.
That's how, and this carried on until I was like 7 or 8.
Right.
Very late. So, you know, the fascination, and my dreams were always so weird, like walking down like a long flight of stairs in the complete darkness and feeling fingers grabbing me from below and then shaking me awake, you know, stuff like that. And I'd feel violently physically shook. You know, dreams like that, or being chased by dolls
What?
Or black hooded figures. This is me as a 6-year-old and below.
That's so stressful. Like where are you getting these images as a 6-year-old?
I have no idea. I don't know. And and I was so used to it. I remember being so used to it. When I dreamed that, parang, oh, okay, I had that dream again. And then I'd fall back to sleep.
So you would have dreams several times? Like sometimes they would repeat themselves?
Yeah. Like all my dreams are recurring. I don't have unique dreams. Or like a new dream would manifest itself in the same place as the one, like like I dreamed the same places over and over again.
Interesting.
Until now. Yeah, until now. Like they're just variations of this one gigantic place. But they all exist in one space. Parang ganun. That's how I perceive my dreams. It's just one big cavern where everything happens.
That's
anywho.
Actually pretty cool.
And can be very terrifying. Yeah, like I think because you know how we didn't really get diagnosed for anything, whether you're not neurotypical or depressed or what. I think I had sleep paralysis, extreme sleep paralysis at that.
What does extreme mean? Because I mean, we've all sort of experienced it, like in lighter ways, I guess, or one way or another.
Like I reached a point where I could actually control what I was dreaming while I had sleep paralysis. Like I could control it. Like it was this weird form of lucidity. Well, I knew I was dreaming while not being able to move. Parang ganon. And the typical, I could see the black fuzzy orbs floating above my head or feel it touching my skin. Yeah. So anyway, lots of that. That was very normal for me when I was a kid. So horror movies was just like a small aspect of that.
Right.
It was just a more coherent, like a more coherent expression of my almost daily experiences.
Grabe. Almost daily. I don't know how to feel. Like, I guess if that's your life, that's it. Like, parang, what are you gonna do? But like, I can't imagine. Like, I feel like I would be so stressed if that happened to me every day.
Well, if it's what it's all you know.
Yun nga eh.
Yeah. So, but looking back, if that were to happen to me again with that intensity, I'd seek help.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how kids are; they can get used to anything. That's how pliable kids are.
Yeah.
But look, like anyway. Sorry, parang I'm getting way ahead of this conversation already.
Okay, but I mean, dovetailing from that, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I am wavering between agnostic in all respects, religious, philosophical, and we live in the Philippines, so ghosts are part of our culture. Wavering between agnostic and spiritual. I mean, I definitely believe that there is something there, but I'm also very rational a person. So maybe what my experiences when I was a kid were chemical imbalances. Or maybe I'm really not neurotypical. Or maybe I'm channeling something. I don't know. I don't know for certain. But I'm open to the possibility. I've seen things. I've dreamt certain things which make me believe that they do exist.
Right.
And it's more mundane than we romanticize ghosts. Parang ganon.
No, that that's super interesting that you say that. Na parang it's more mundane than we romanticize, because I did have a season where all the people that I talked to had third eyes, and for them it was just like, I mean, that's their everyday, and it wasn't like anything super special for them. Like, there you go again, Mr. Mumu.
Exactly. It's just like an itch, It's the more you scratch it, the more the worse it gets.
Yeah.
Or like The Beautiful Minds, the movie, right? The hallucinations don't really go away; they just fade into the background and become more manageable over time. Parang ganon. It's just they're just there, existing, living their own whatever lives they are living.
Yeah, it's kind of like a coexisting situation, I think.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what I believe. Like, if I were to be asked if I believe in ghosts, my belief is not really a yes or a no, but it's more of I'm pretty sure that we're not the only things like around. And parang to say that we're the only things that are sentient or like just occupying the space is arrogance that we shouldn't have. And we should be prepared to share.
True. Or even to expand on what you just said. Like, we don't even really know for sure. And, there's literature to back it up. We're not even completely sure what, or rather there's a lack of literature to back it up. That we're not even sure what consciousness is.
Yep.
Or like how the electrical signals in my brain translate from like physical stimuli to me, to the eye, to the me to the I who makes decisions and thinks that it's myself, like me. And what is consciousness?
Right.
We don't know for certain. So for all we know, we're like, I would like to imagine sometimes that we're really just transceivers, receivers, and transmitters. We're actually just meat popsicles controlled by something else. Could be a soul. Could be something that's in another plane. I don't know. Diba? Pero it could just be like that. Our brains really aren't where the final consciousness resides. It's elsewhere.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't know.
Who knows?
Maybe.
I mean, we could all be actually at the end of the day controlled by mushrooms. Who knows, man?
Mushroom.
No, because I just saw the Fantastic Fungi documentary on like Netflix, and apparently like there's like this huge neural network in forests, and it's like all made of mushrooms, and like that pathway, apparently that pattern is the same as like certain patterns in the universe. So I'm like, what if we're all just mushrooms? I don't know. I don't know.
It's kind of a strange off tangent leaf, but maybe.
Who knows, man?
Or maybe we're the viruses, like destroying the mycelial network.
You know what?
The mushroom.
We could go off tangent into Star Trek and how they use this, but we won't do that because we're going to take so long. Anyway, coming back to the conversation. So when was the first time you had anything creepy happen?
I do not remember anymore. The first time though, it was a dream. It's always like most of my creepier experiences are dreams. And this becomes important later on when you ask me about the thing that I told you about a few months back. My creepiest dream was when I was 4 or 5.
Wow.
I dreamt that I was in my nursery. Nursery's 4, diba? Or 5?
Yeah. Like by nursery, you mean school, nursery school.
Nursery preschool, yeah. So I was in my nursery. I was in my nursery school. I dreamt I was that. And I was chasing one of my classmates, this girl, who I guess I had a crush on. I don't know. I don't know how kids' emotions work anymore. So I was chasing this girl through the school. And then I was running really fast. And and the school for some reason was this maze of old stuff, of a lithograph, of an abandoned piano, stacks of books. You know how dreams distort reality that way. And then finally, she busts through this door and the door closes. It's this narrow door. And when I open the door, it's the bathroom, or rather the toilet, facing me. And then I look down on the toilet and there's this doll, this porcelain, this perfectly formed porcelain version of that girl looking back up at me. And then for the longest time,
or like sitting on the toilet, or like what?
Under the water.
What?
It becomes suddenly the pool. Yeah, like looking up at me. Like she's in this. I mean, it's not really a toilet anymore. It's this big pool of water with a white basin, and there's this porcelain doll, child doll, looking up at me. And then the dream just stretches on to infinity. Me staring at that doll lang forever, and then I wake up.
What?
That's what, and I still remember that dream until now.
That's so crazy. I mean, like, people barely even have memories from when they were that young, and you're remembering your dreams.
I remember my dreams. I remember dreams where the world was ending by way of major earthquake, like the sky was red and the ground was falling from beneath my feet, and I could feel it. I could feel the rubble hitting my head, and stuff like that. Like and it was always vivid. Like it's strange now considering these are dreams and you're not supposed to remember dreams.
Well, yeah. I mean, you do sometimes, but like honestly, I have never heard anyone remember them as vivid and as long as you have.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think it's because my dreams always recur. Like, I mean, there's always they always have this. Like, they always happen in like one of my favorite places. that I always dream about. It's like this underground, city. It's like, it looks like Kowloon, like how they portray Kowloon in those cheap action movies. Seeing like neon signs, very narrow corridors and narrow alleys, but you could see all the way to like 10 floors above, and there's no sky.
Yeah.
Like endless highways under the ground. Parang ganun, I always dream stuff like that. Or this house with a giant greenhouse. I realize that what I'm talking about isn't really scary anymore, but delving into like dream imagery na.
We're setting the scene. It's okay.
Yeah, we are setting the scene. But yeah, like always, my dreams always happen in the same places. I always dream about Baguio. I always dream about I always dream about I always dream about the same places, moods. They always leave a certain feeling on me afterwards. But one thing that never seems to be the same, with the exception of family and friends, is I always dream about new people.
What do you mean?
I always meet with the exception of now my wife or used to be my parents or my brothers. Like the people I meet in my dream are always people who I've never met in real life. And they always have something to say and I never remember. Yeah, I never remember what they say. But a large chunk of my dreams is usually conversations with them.
That you don't remember.
But I don't remember. And looking back like, oh my gosh, this always happened to me when I was a kid. And that thing that happened to me later on becomes...
That's pretty interesting because I remember reading a theory somewhere that you never dream of a face you've never seen. And if in your dream you see a face that you don't remember that you've seen, it's a ghost that you've seen.
Well...
Is that aligned with what we're going to talk about?
It kind of is. There are... Okay, now like bookmark this thought. There are 2 incidents that I want to talk about.
Okay.
One which does not have a conclusion, but it ties in to the second one simply because of what I was doing at the time.
Okay. All right. So let's start off with the first one of those that you want to talk.
Okay. Back in college kasi, to set this up, back in college, I met a few people, like-minded people who would warn me, na what I was experiencing might not be purely psychological or, I have to be careful. Because by college, I was fascinated by the occult, by the spiritual. I heard about like certain abilities that like the questers would have. And, I had this mild interest in it. And, of course, there came the warning that having your third eye open comes with certain amounts of risk. There would be horror stories of families that are. I know someone. I'm not going to name who was haunted by a succubus.
What?
Like a family, like this, like he and his mom have their third eyes open, and parang like lalaki to, diba? And kind of like a 20-something horny male being attacked by a succubus was it was draining him, like he was always sickly. And then finally, napiko na yung nanay niya. The mom could see the succubus across the street from their house.
Yeah.
Shocked. And she drove it away somehow. And then you hear stuff like that, or like may kapre sa labas ng bahay na ayaw malis, yung mga ganun. And then you always hear the warning that, if you don't want them to notice you, don't heed them, don't
give them attention. Yeah.
Don't give them attention. And para me always being agnostic and suspiciously not neurotypical, I just let things happen if they happen. And, and like my and it would manifest with this weird empathy back then. I'm not sure now, because especially since I closed my eye na, like I could read people if I tried really hard. Like I once guessed a person's family situation just by looking at them. and I found out that they didn't have a dad anymore.
Yeah.
Not because he was dead, but because like the guy left the house, ganyan. And whether I could read the person's personality properly or I could tell, like I could empathize with them, whatever. I figured it out, and I could figure that out with people before. Now I don't even try because I don't want to.
Nakapagod yun, ah.
It is. Like it takes an intense amount of concentration to find things out about the person without knowing. And I was always like, most of the time I was right. Most of the time I could figure things out, and people would be surprised. I'm like, hey, this could be useful. Yeah, cool trick, right? And then and then
no, but it sounds
I
like
graduated.
It kind of sounds like empathy plus.
Yes. Pero it had to be turned on. It had to be a deliberate action. It's not part of it's not part of me. Not like me being me, default me isn't really that empathic if I'm not deliberately trying to be. Parang ganon. So it's an add-on.
Right.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, go on.
But yeah, like siguro I'm not someone who, it's not part of my bag of tricks. I'm not someone who sees ghosts. I could feel them. Like I feel very uncomfortable if they're around, and I could just tell, and then I'd be corroborated by someone. Yep, merong something dito, ganyan. But yeah, moving on after college, I was working in a post house, like an editing studio, like pretty much like a sound studio. It's quiet, it's dark. You work late hours, and it's this old building in near Greenbelt called Perea. It's Perea building.
Oh yeah.
Really, really old building. Hindi man really old, but 60s, 70s. Hindi ako tumagal. Aside from the fact that nakaka-burnout yung trabaho, fresh out of college, tapos with commercials.
Yeah.
Every time I slept on the couch to recharge, I woke up feeling more tired. And then apparently one of my dreams, and this is just after trying to remember what I was dreaming. I dreamt that I was in a hospital ward, and I was visiting an old man, and I wasn't the old man, or I was visiting an old woman, and I was someone else in this old 1950s, 1960s looking hospital ward. Parang ganon. And I woke up feeling really sad, and knowing that this person died here. Parang ganon. I can't quantify it, pero I had this impression that it really happened, or this person really resided in this building for some reason. So, looking at, okay, disclaimer to your audience, I have no evidence to prove that this is real. This is just my experiences piling onto each other to reinforce this narrative that maybe there is something to my dreams. Yeah, to my which is ironic now, because my last experience, which made me close my eye, made me ask someone to help me close it, did not involve dreams at all. It involved a gap naman in my memory.
Wait, before we move on though, so that dream that you woke up from, which was you were in a 1950s hospital, and then you woke up terribly sad. What happened after that? Like you just kind of moved on?
Oh yeah, no, I asked some of the guards na, may nakatira ba dito dating, apparently it was some of the house, some of the buildings, some of the rooms were residences before, and people retired there.
Sure.
So I don't know. I really didn't push that hard. But by this point, but by this point, I was kind of suspecting that already na I was attracting the wrong kind of attention. Which was what my friend warned me about. If you keep on doing this, if you keep on allowing them to ride on you, they will ride on you.
Right.
Because I don't know, because they want to experience things through me, or they can only experience things through me, whatever it is.
This post house na mabigat, is this the only thing that happened to you there?
I always had the weirdest dreams. I have one key detail about the dreams that I had. The dreams that I had there were different
from everything that you used to have.
Yeah. Like normally when like the hospital rooms, like with the whole white drapes falling from the ceiling. I never used to dream about that.
Right.
Like it was drab, it was dry, it felt like someone else. It didn't feel like me. It didn't feel like my underground or Baguio or my greenhouse. You know, it didn't feel like any of that. It felt like someone else. And it felt exhausting. Like you're not supposed to feel that way when you sleep. You know, you're not supposed to feel like you just lived an entire life while you were sleeping. Parang ganon.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so yon, like it reached a head when, well, needless to say, di ako tumagal sa work na yun because it was exhausting for one reason or another. I became a freelancer. And that's when, and that led me to my final experience.
Okay.
Which, so should I go? Should I continue to my final experience?
Yeah, go.
Oh, sige. Okay. A year later, so I was freelancer na, or 2 years later, there was a project which needed me to bunk for a week with my director and another editor in this empty office space in Capitolio. And the reason being, it was a lot of videos. You know, we only had a week to produce 5 videos. So we decided to put all the computers and the director and the writers in one space so we could all just churn it out. Huh? So it was this loft, this loft with like a huge office. And in the middle was where all the computers were, and may bunk bed done where anyone could sleep. And then, so that was the setup. And during this entire time that we were editing, I was always so tired. I don't know why. Like, could have been the, baka dahil aircon siya, so hindi naman siya mainit. Maybe it was the stress. I don't know. Like, I was just 3 years out of college. Could have been that. Okay. But I was always so tired. And my birthday was coming up. Like, it was a week. Like, we started Monday, ended Friday. My birthday was Friday. So I had to finish everything by Thursday. Yeah. By Thursday. Or, yeah, by Thursday. But the deadline was Friday. But the director knew, so parang, can I just finish everything a day early so I can leave? So, yun. But for some reason, I could barely work. Like, I could barely finish my stuff. Like, like every time I'd render. Rendering is when you have the computer collate everything that you edited and then turn it into one video. That's what rendering is. And so every time I'd render, which would take like 30 minutes to an hour, I'd nap. And then I'd alarm it to coincide when it finishes. Ganon. And, you know, instead of like talking to my friends or talking to my director, I'd sleep.
Wow.
And on my final day, on the Thursday morning, I was rendering my final batch of files. And I decided to nap. So I asked my co-editor, "Uy, pakigising naman ako. Please wake me up in an hour because that's when my rendering finishes."
Yeah.
So I sleep. A dreamless sleep, strangely enough. I wake up. I slept at 11. Did I say 11? I slept at 11.
In the morning?
Yeah. In the morning. Slept at 11. I woke up at 2. I slept 2 in the afternoon. Okay. So I slept longer. So it was like a cot. What do you call that? Yung folding bed.
Yeah.
I wake up.
But di mo ginising.
Oh, yeah. But nyari, ba't di mo ginising? Di pa tapos doon sa isang video. It's parang, nagising ka, man. Apparently, I stood up. I sat up the bed at around like an hour after I lay down. I sat up, looked around for like the longest time, like staring, not really listening to everyone. Bloodshot eyes.
Okay.
And bloodshot eyes and just staring at everyone intently. Parang head elsewhere. I don't remember that. And this is like, there are like witnesses. There's the director and the co-editor was there, the writer was there. It's parang, ginising ka namin. Nagising ka. It's parang, no, I didn't. I don't remember that. It's parang,
were they trying to talk to you or like were you responding?
No, they were trying to talk to me and I wasn't responding. Like how specifically I forgot, but I remember that they were trying to, Maui, okay ka lang?
No, parang you're like, dude, okay ka lang.
Yeah, they were trying to like get me out of whatever funk I was in. And I was just there. Like I sat up. And then apparently after a while, I laid back down and I went back to sleep. And then 2 hours later, I woke up, none the wiser. So I finished my work. So, whatever that was, like it's over.
Sure.
Finished my work, packed up my computer, went home. And then my birthday happened. And I wasn't really talking to them because I was busy at my birthday, whatever, right? And then so I called them the day after. I did not have a party except with my family. That's why they're not part of it. Yeah. But anyway, I called them up the day after. Kamusta yung event? It was for an event. Kamusta yung event? Tas, hindi namin natapos yung videos.
Bakit?
Ano nangyari? Paano hindi nyo natapos? Nung pag-alis mo pare, may nangyari.
What?
Parang nangyari? Parang yung video daw niya, hindi na daw niya ma-render. Like every time he rendered it.
Nag-hang or something.
There was this white thing in the middle of the frame that was distorting the image, and it refused to go away.
And this was on everybody else's like screens?
Everybody else's video. That's just that one editor. Siya lang yung natira. Like his video would render out wrong.
Okay.
So yeah, and then shit, baka sira yung
something niya or whatever.
Computer mo. Hindi nila alam. And then a few weeks later, yung the editor yung kausap ko yun. A few weeks later, I talked to the directors. Parang, what happened? And then she was reluctant na, Maui, baka huwag ka muna bumalik sa
place na yun?
Sa amin.
Or
huwag ka muna bumalik sa amin.
Like to work with them? Or?
Yeah, like bakit? Or wag muna bumalik sa place na yun. Like, wag ka muna bumalik sa Kapitolyo.
Okay.
Parang, bakit? Kasi may yung video diba nasira, tapos nag-fail yung project. Like they apparently had to redo it. Like they had to, my editor friend was able to save the project by bringing his project home and rendering it at home, and it started to work.
With the same machine?
With the same machine.
Huh? Okay, yeah. Okay.
So si Direk, after the project, with an empty office na, kasi wala nang gamit dun, temporary office lang siya. The empty office, she brought along her driver who happened to be a mangkukulam.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Because strange shit happened. She put 2 and 2 together. Me not waking up and then, stuff not working the day after.
Okay.
As in talagang, like, they couldn't figure it out. Like may maaligid ba just sa background?
No, it's the cat. Don't worry.
Okay. Hindi yun, like, may dinala siyang mangkukulam. Yung driver niya who apparently is mangkukulam or witch doctor. I don't know whatever.
Random, but okay.
May dinala niya sa office na yun. That office, by the way, it's on the 4th floor of this low-rise building. Okay. So no elevator. So there's a walk-up, right?
Okay.
So imagine bringing a CPU and monitors.
Fun.
Anyway, 4 flats of stairs.
Larga.
Anywho, so the driver was approaching the building approaching the entrance to the stairs. Straight to stairs, walang lobby or anything. He said, wag ka munang umakyat, minararamdaman na ako dito.
Huh.
And then he went up the stairs.
Alone.
Went to the office, alone. Then came back out. It's parang, okay, ganito. Kumuha ka ng papel, get pieces of paper, and write down all the names of the people who were
here with you at the time.
So he wrote down her name, the co-editor's name, the writer's name, my name. And then they went in together sa office. And then, tinanong niya, sino yung kaibigan mo dito? So the guy enters the room, goes up the loft, there's a second floor area in the office, and asks, sino kaibigan mo dito? Siya ba? The name of the director? No. Siya ba? Name of the co-editor. And finally, my name. Siya ba? And then he felt something. And then he walks to a spot. And when he walks to this spot, and when he walked to that spot, namuti yung director ko.
Why?
Because it was my spot.
Like where you would sleep? Where
I worked.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, siya ba yung nakaupo dito? Holding up my name. She didn't know who. Sorry, I ruined the story. But she didn't know what name was on the
paper.
Yeah, siya ba yung nakaupo dito? Tapos ako. It's my name. And apparently, so he the mangkukulam, asked that thing, that being what it was. And apparently it was a mischievous spirit na hindi taga dun sa building.
Okay.
Because the building's new. Like, there's no reason for it to be haunted, right? It's like a 10-year-old condo or office building. And then I could even point it out to you next time if we ever find ourselves there.
That one.
That one.
Okay.
Apparently, it was just this spirit that was roaming around Capitolio for whatever reason and saw me walking towards the building and realized, hey, I could play with him.
What the hell, man? Sobrang balas mo lang.
So that thing attached herself to me, and then for the next 4 days, drained the living life energy out of me. And then, apparently, kaya nagloko yung machine ng co-editor ko on Friday was because nagtatampo siya.
Kasi wala ka na doon?
Kasi wala na ako doon. So the mangkukulam witch doctor convinced that spirit to leave because I wasn't gonna come back. So, yon.
What the hell?
Took that director long time to hire me again. That's for sure. But
comes with strings attached. Itong editor na to.
And I remember feeling really drained the entire time. It was not enjoyable. Parang when I realized that she won't get me for a while, okay lang kasi.
Okay lang, man.
Hindi siya natural eh. Then after that, I asked a friend who was sensitive to help me close my eyes. So,
right.
There.
So, but I mean, I'm glad it didn't follow you when you left, but why didn't it just follow you when you left?
Because it expected me to come back.
And it didn't know where you went after, so couldn't find you anymore. Parang ganon.
Yeah. Parang ganon. Just like a real person. I mean, they're spirits. They're not psychics.
Right. Okay. But nobody else felt anything? Or pagod din sila?
No, just me. Yeah, like people were, parang my director actually asked me at one point, but parang pagod na pagod ka? So I don't know. Could be the weather. Like, mainit. Kasi may mga spots dun sa loft na mainit. So it could have been that. I mean, a counter explanation would be na it's really just badly insulated or badly ventilated, that place.
Was there any explanation ever offered about when you woke up and sat up with bloodshot eyes and stuff?
That's never happened to me before and never happened to me since. Although I've slept walk. Funny story. I slept walk once. My parents' bedroom, when I was younger, I was I was 13 years old and my younger brother was 8. We used to sleep either in our parents' bedroom or our bedroom, shared bedroom, and their bedrooms' doors would face each other. Okay. One time, my mom freaked out because apparently we both slept-walked to sleep in the other bedroom. Mag-swap kami. But before that happened, and we both don't remember this. That's the freakiest thing. The doors opened at the same time, faced each other. My mom was watching this. We faced each other, and then and then and we were both confused. Paano ko nalipat dito?
So you just
Ba't ako natulog? Kasi we had the conversation. So I don't know. Maybe we're a family of sensitive freaks. I don't know.
But does your brother have dreams like this too? Would you know? Or anyone else in your family?
I don't know. I never. We're a very pragmatic family.
Sure.
That's one thing you have to know about the Mauritius. We're my dad's from UP. My mom's social science from Miriam. She's social services pala. Social studies. Sorry. My mom's family is sort of religious. But the next generations really didn't pick up much on that. Now my dad's family, my dad's side naman, now they're very pragmatic. Military family, moved around a lot, a gaggle of UP students who leaned hard into being rationalists. Alam mo yun?
Yeah.
So there really is no indication in my family that this has happened to anyone else, but I don't.
So it's not something that you would talk about either.
Yeah, and it's not something I would talk about until college. Because in college, that's where apparently it happened to other people as well. But otherwise, no one to talk to.
What do you mean in college? That's when it happened to other people as well.
I mean, that's in college. That's where I've
met people.
I've met people who are actual sensitives or who have seen one person I dated hallucinated their friends on a daily basis.
I'm sorry, what?
I know, right? I still can't figure it out until now. If they were imagining it or what.
Hallucinated friends who existed or hallucinated into existence friends?
No. Like hallucinated actual friends who were far away. Like they would imagine their friends
like around
physical form around them, even though they were far away.
What?
And it would semi-freak her out. I'm afraid to ask her. She's still a friend. I'm afraid to ask her now what she meant by that. If she still remembers her visions.
With all due respect, schizophrenia?
I don't know, maybe. But parang she seems fine now. So
okay, I'm glad.
Yeah, and it is something that as college progressed, it's something she talked about less and less. So maybe it just went away. I don't know.
Or doppelgangers.
So many.
Who knows, man?
Who knows? And you know, when you work in film too, you know, you hear a lot of things. A lot.
Okay, let's unpack that. What is the worst thing you've heard working in film? Not necessarily having happened to you, or maybe having happened around you. Or just heard. The creepiest thing you've heard.
Dami kasi. But I try not to store it anymore. But maybe one of the more one of the easier stories to replay in my head is by that very same editor. It's funnily enough by that very same editor who I was with in that office. They were editing footage of an educational program TV. This was back in 2004. We still shot on tape, you know, mini DV. And they were shooting in an abandoned school.
Why?
An abandoned school. Because it's better, you know, so that you have all the time in the world to shoot.
Controlled environment, no kids running around, ruining the shot.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. So, kids were running around and ruining the shots anyway.
What do you mean? Like it would be on tape?
This was a program starring priests. So it was like educational, spiritual.
Okay.
So apparently they would be talking to the camera. It was like a weekly program. I won't expound on I don't wanna call too much attention to it. But there's there will be instances. This is so foggy. I'm dredging it up through the mud na. There were instances of footage being ruined because apparently they would be shooting in the first floor and then there's a second floor, may kumakalabog.
Pero walang tao.
And then they would check the second floor and apparently, alam mo yung mga stairs that have gates, stairs that have bars so that you wouldn't. It's a school, so it's understandable that there are areas that are barred off during the night. And it was barred off. There was no possibility that there would be
anybody up there because it's like
footsteps. Yes. Tiny footsteps.
Good times.
Yeah, and then there was there was this time that very same editor friend of mine
this guy
parang siya pala may kasalanan. No, I don't think so. He doesn't believe in that I don't think so.
He doesn't believe in it, but it happens around him.
Yun nga there was this whole chunk of footage that he refused to touch. Parang direct ayokong gamitin to. So parang bakit? Kasi may nakita ko sa footage. And god damn. And it's corroborated evidence. I have not seen it myself because I refuse to see it.
Pass na.
There's this shot at night of a hallway in that school. And you could see someone at the very end na tumawid.
Okay.
In wine, whatever, right?
Sure.
But sobrang silang natakot kasi if you go to that hallway and you look at where that thing or that person passed, it was a blank wall.
So walang thoroughfare or like, wala kang dediretsohan.
Walang kang dediretsohan. And it's on tape. It's mini DV. It's digital. It can't be a fucking double exposure. What you see is what you get. So there. It's parang, science says one thing that, like spirits don't exist, but I don't know, man.
What the hell was that then?
I've had experiences that can't quite be explained by science or rationality or the physical universe being merely physical.
Yeah. Has anything weird ever happened to you while you were shooting something?
No.
Okay.
Well, for one, I don't shoot enough. I'm an editor. So, but no. I make sure naman na I make sure to follow the basics. Like, lalay ka ng, up until people stop believing in it, I guess. We all grew out of it for some reason. Like, bawal magdala ng mani.
What?
Otherwise, balas. Yeah, you don't bring peanuts to a shoot because it's unlucky to bring peanuts on a shoot.
Mm-hmm. Why?
It's unlucky. Parang minamani mo yung set.
I did not know that.
Or like if you want good weather during a shoot, mag-alay ka ng bilog, gin bilog, tsaka itlog. At
Bakit may gin bilog?
Because they might like it. No.
Okay. Interesting.
So yun, you follow those rules. You try to be, and it eases na rin the minds and the hearts of the more superstitious crew members.
Sure.
And sometimes you na rin. You never know like, diba?
I mean, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone and it's not like we're sacrificing virgins.
No. Holy crap, we're definitely not in that time or space anymore.
I do know that there are certain productions that sacrifice chickens.
Yeah. That was before.
Like long ago.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted, either the was it because of was it for weather or what was it for?
May have been a mix of like weather, success, prosperity, but then just nothing will go wrong. It's like a version of fingers crossed, but bloodier with more feathers.
At least it's not a goat. And if you can eat the chicken, you probably couldn't eat the chicken after though. You had to leave it. Probably.
Really?
Ano alay mo? In death lang. Malamang pati yung manok.
The blood. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't practice animal sacrifice.
I don't know how this works, and I'm glad that it was from long ago. I don't know if people still do it. I've just heard of it, and like kind of similar to those superstitions where before you start like a major construction, or if you, but even like some people before they start like constructing a building or a house, they will like they will sacrifice a chicken or like sacrifice. I think I've heard of a pig before, but that was like a super traditional Chinese family, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it.
I am super not surprised.
Yeah, but personally, personally in my family though, like it wasn't really anything like that. It was really more of just like there were coins that we would hide under the foundation, like the foundation pillars. And then during the house blessing, we would be given like a bunch of coins to scatter around the house and just sort of like make a lot of noise. And then whenever I would ask, like, why are we doing this? It's so that the coins make so much noise. And then you keep the coins where they land so that a lot of noise just like happens and things are scared away or something. I don't know. And plus also it's money showering around. So I don't know, like superstitions like that. There's a lot of those in our culture.
And we still do it. I mean, the coins. I remember opening an office and we'd have coins in the corners for like the longest time.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang, okay.
Cool.
And our layouts would be so weird because of feng shui. And then, diba?
Yeah, I don't super like, I don't. Yeah, and they're like experts in this, like consultants who like do this thing.
Like Henry, what's his name? The guy who said 2020 would be the most prosperous year.
For what? COVID?
Who's that? This is the feng shui.
Anyway, so okay. Though I do have a question from something that you brought up earlier. You said that your for a time your third eye was open, but you said that you can't like seeing things is not in your like bag of tricks. So what did it mean for you to say that your third eye was open?
I could feel if a place was charged. Like something simple like have you been to Corregidor?
Of course.
You remember the batteries? The mounds of earth where they used to store the ammo, the shells.
I don't remember that specifically. I just remember going through that like ridiculously dark tunnel and just being scared out of my mind.
That's the Malinta. No, not that. That was suspiciously empty of whatever energy is.
Talaga?
I'm gonna talk about. Pero like kasi I guess they blessed it na kasi there's a show Parang sanitized na siya. Pero like the battery where it was like this mound of earth where they store a lot of the ammunition. And one of them was bombed. Like natamaan ng artillery directly, exploding it, and everyone inside died.
Oh no.
And so they rebuilt it, and so it's like this cavern, this small tunnel, this small cellar, and di ako makapasok. Like it was so thick, like there was a blanket of heaviness that I could not walk through. Nahihilo ko.
Right. You know, that's so interesting that you said that the tunnel is empty of those specific energies, because I do remember why I felt so uncomfortable in that tunnel was because it felt like a void. Not specifically that there, you know, like the usual moo like heebie-jeebies, but yun nga, it felt like a void. Like nothing was there. Like it was nothingness.
Yeah, it was. Like it was Disneyfied because the lights and sound shows in there.
Hindi, pero I mean, aside from that lights and sound show, parang
sounds.
The feeling itself was parang empty. Like emptiness and like, I wouldn't say sadness, pero parang sterile.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. And I guess it felt better than the other place.
Right.
You know, maybe I guess people experience it differently. I don't know. I don't know how to quantify feelings like this or sensations like this. But basically, if something's there, then I feel it. And then if it's something the opposite of that, I don't know. Maybe I feel things differently. Pero yun nga, like the tunnel, is it the Malinta tunnel?
Not specifically
that
sure.
Yeah, but that tunnel felt loads better than the battery because it felt angry and red and dark and heavy. Parang ganon.
Right.
And that's what I feel. Like that's like if there is something in a room, like holy crap, there's this apartment that I stayed in for a while in Baguio, and there was the person I was staying with was also sensitive, but they could see and I could feel. So para kaming, you know, the blind,
tandem,
the deaf leading the blind. But anyway, because they could see something in the top corner.
What?
Of the shadow, like a child.
What?
Like a dark child.
But the top corner of the ceiling?
Parang gano'n. Yung naka-ganon. Yung naka-Spider-Man. And I could feel it.
Dude,
so parang,
pangit ng
imagine, like ganyan dito. Here. Look at my screen. Yung
fuck, man, like, don't do that. Don't do that. So, for reference, for our listeners, Maui just points to a dark corner in his room and then made the position of whatever they saw and like think Hereditary.
Spider-Man.
Yes. When Tita was like up on the ceiling being all like sneaky, that's the thing that he like posed as. That's so stressful, Mommy.
Yeah, and I didn't see it. I didn't see this thing. I can't see.
Okay lang.
But I felt it. Like I felt this thing. Yeah.
Why is it so that strangely enough that this isn't the first story that I've heard from Baguio about things on walls.
Okay.
This is like maybe the third. Like one was crawling across the wall and then one was like just hanging out, chilling. So
great.
One time.
My room is so dark. This is like a high gain camera. That's why it's so bright. But it's actually very dark in here.
Oh, really?
Woo!
Okay.
Yeah.
I will warn you. And so far, the only thing that's come in is your lovely child. Ang ina, Maui, stop point. What the ina? I don't know if we're editing this. I'm gonna edit this out because it's basically just a minute of me. It's like
I'm doing the Spider-Man thing right now.
Yeah, and then like he's making his eyes wider. Anyway,
I know. Anyway, yeah, but anyway.
Good times. Right. So third eye feeling stuff, super sensitive. And then you mentioned that later on when the thing happened to you after that birthday editing time, that you had called someone to help you close it off. What was that like? What happened?
You know what? I blocked it off.
Really?
We did the thing. I don't remember anymore. It was weird. But we said a prayer, did a ritual. I don't remember. That's the funniest thing. Like I don't remember much about it. But then again, I blocked off a lot of things from that era. So that's part of it. But it was a conscious effort to tell myself na in so many words, in so many rituals and motions, it was a conscious effort to tell myself not to take notice of these things anymore.
Tama na.
Yeah. And basically be invisible to them. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Which is something we should do again just to be safe. You know, if you have any, I don't want to start seeing things again.
Yeah.
I like sleep.
I like sleep too. Dreams. I like sleep too. We got to work in the morning.
Yep.
Anything else that you want to talk about? Anything else that's weird has anything happened to you recently? Ever since you sort of shut that down?
I guess I in terms of narrative, I always think of my life in terms of narratives and chapters and stuff that in terms of what interests me. So, for example, I'm a Mike Flanagan fan. I think, Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, and then Midnight Mass, and House, Doctor Sleep, all these movies. Ultimately, what I gravitate towards isn't really the horror. The horror is fun. The scares, the creep, the feeling that you are just insignificant compared to these cosmic beings. That's fun. That's exhilarating. Pero yung ultimate draw sa akin ng any story, whether it be horror or I'm a sci-fi guy. More than a horror guy, I'm a sci-fi guy. The biggest draw is always the human emotions. The humanity faced with that kind of inhuman adversity. I think I know myself enough to know that that's what I am into. How this human being will survive despite everything that's going against him. Supernatural and otherwise.
Which is basically the entirety of Hill House.
Yes, exactly. And then with you, the house, literally the house against the family, diba? But then I guess that extends to how I used to see them, how I used to see the ghosts and the spirits and if they were ever human, if they were ever feeling, thinking beings, and I think they still are, it's I never thought of it as scary. I'm more scared of imaginary things. Seeing shadows jump out in the dark freak me out more just because I'm a nervous guy. I have anxiety.
Okay.
Jump scares, I hate jump scares.
Okay.
I'm not that kind of thing. Alam mo, parang, for me, there are two distinct things. I can watch a Stephen King movie that doesn't have any jump scares all day because it's not about the scary bits. It's about it's about the human drama. It's about the human element. It's always about that, I never really thought about these experiences as scary. I never thought about the night terrors that I used to have as scary. I even controlled them to a point. I had lucid dreams while having night terrors.
Right.
Weird kid. So it was never terrifying or scary for me because it was always centered around whatever that was feeling, whether I was feeling it or that spirit was feeling it.
Right.
And, it, I guess except for the Capitolio thing, because that was scary because it was draining me.
Yeah.
Iba na yun. But it wasn't scary because it was supernatural. It was scary because it was abuse.
Yeah, of course. It was taking something without your consent.
Which is, which a human would do, which a human can do.
Right.
So, alam mo yan. So it's always that I always seem to frame, on instinct, I always seem to frame all of this in that context. The human emotion, human drama, human challenges, So even if it's like that thing that I dreamt, the hospital beds with the old man and the old woman, with the old man visiting his wife, it wasn't scary to me. It was depressing because it was it felt like I was at the end of my life visiting someone who's about to die. Parang ganon. It wasn't terrifying because I dreamt a ghost. I mean, ghosts are there.
Sure.
It was just sad.
Right.
So, yeah.
Super interesting. Okay.
Ghosts and spirits and otherworldly beings are really just things that feel just like us. And some of them want to give you attention, some of them don't.
Right. I mean, that's actually a pretty different perspective from what I normally hear. Yeah.
Why? What do you normally hear?
I mean, like it's either people are very, very scared, or like people go the hard opposite where that's not true. That's crazy talk, or parang it's just that's not a normal, like parang it's not something I hear very often. Like that perspective that they are just like balls of feelings, whatever those feelings might be.
Well, if by the end of the universe, we're all going the same way.
Yeah, that's true. We're all just going to be balls of feelings.
Yeah. Or we're all going to fizzle into nothing. Don't know. I think we're all the same, man. For all we know, we're just the universe dreaming itself into existence.
Mushrooms. That's going to be the title of this episode. Just mushrooms. Anyway.
Dun.
There's may one up and all that. In life, green mushroom. Anyway, thank you for joining us, Maui. Is there anything you want to share with the good people of the internet? What have you been up to, and where can people find you or find the stuff that you do?
Okay. My Instagram is private. I'm not really a social media kind of person.
Fair enough.
That's not my jam. But we do have a website. It's playgroundinc.co. So if you're a company or an agency looking for a post house to edit your videos, come drop us a line. We have been getting a lot of scammers lately.
Really?
The email na you've used copyright, whatever.
Yeah.
No, we haven't. We pay for everything. So visit our website, playgroundinc.co, not com, .co. And I'm also part of Team Lenny. I'm the lead video producer. So if you want to volunteer, you can drop me a line. No, go look for the page and drop us a line there.
So that's on Facebook, facebook.com/Team Lenny.
Team Lenny Robredo, www.facebook.com/Team Lenny Robredo.
Yeah, dude. I don't know about the personal political affiliations of my listeners, but what I do know is that we just need to get out of this pandemic, and it's whatever we've been doing, like right now, it's not working. So guys,
it's super not working. Yep.
We just need a new plan.
That's how we all feel, man.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, and by the way, just as a side note, on Playground, tried and tested by myself for day job, 5 stars, would recommend.
Thank you so much for that recommendation. Thank you so much.
Yes. Okay. So this has been Grimcast Manila with your host, Antoinette. You can find more episodes on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and everywhere you find your podcasts. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Grimcast Manila. Join the group, facebook.com/Grimcast, a group for ghosts and ghouls. Grimcast Manila is a podcast of creepy stories from around the metro and is produced, recorded, and distributed by Big Baby Studios. Find out more about our other shows on Big Baby at itsabigbaby.com or facebook.com/Big Baby Studios.